Hello, and welcome back to another episode. Today, I just want to catch you guys up on what's been occurring for the past couple of weeks, 2 weeks and 2 days ish. And it all began with me bashing my head on the car. I was reaching into the car to pick up the wonderful Morty and completely didn't register where my head was in relation to the roof. Hit the car incredibly hard. The whole thing wobbled. I sort of let out a howl combined with like a laugh. I didn't want to freak the dog out, so I was like, which our neighbours heard as well. They were like, "Is everything okay?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine." And then a couple of days later, I suddenly realised I felt really rough. I felt like I had the flu or something, but I didn't have the flu. I wasn't coughing. My nose wasn't running. I wasn't struggling to breathe. All that sort of stuff. I was feeling achy and lethargic and dizzy, a bit nauseous, all that sort of stuff. And we checked online. Mrs. Soup and I had a look. It was suggested that I could have a concussion. And after a quick check with initially a friend who's a doctor, they said it's likely that you have a concussion. You probably need to rest, maybe do a follow up with your GP. So we did, and I went a couple of days later to go and see my doctor, and that confirmed that there's been swelling essentially of the brain, but no bleeding and nothing major. So no skull fractures or anything like that. And then last weekend, I was messing about. Me and Mrs. Soup messing about. She was going to go pew 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 at me, and I went, oh no, I've been shot, and completely forgot that my head was injured, even though I've been in constant pain with it actually. And actually before then, I'd even been to the dentist just to see is my pain to do with it? Do I have a tooth that needs a filling or something? But it was just radiating pain through my face and through my jaw, because of hitting my head. But anyway, there I am going, oh no, oh you shot me, and go and smack my head on the corner of the couch. It's a cushioned corner, but still, it's a structural corner of the couch, and that only made things worse. So the next day, I felt awful. Had another follow-up visit with the doctor. Doctor said, "Yeah, you shouldn't have hit your head off the couch, but go away, relax, rest. Don't Basically, if I didn't work for myself, I would be signed off work. So that's more or less what I was told to do. In fact, technically, I shouldn't really be sat here in front of this light and these screens, but I wanted to record something about this and some sort of update. And then things were going fine. I was, a couple of days later, recover. I woke up without a headache for the first time in a while. I was like, yes, win. Went to the pharmacy. As I was walking through the supermarket to get there, a little child comes running across. This little boy, just going, basically like a tiny drunk person. That's often how one of my friends describes his kids. And comes along, almost falls over in front of me. I almost step on him and fall over him. So I sort of flail a foot out of the way in order to not hit him, but in turn trip over my own feet and then smack my head off a stack of Pepsi cans in the supermarket, resulting in this lovely little ding. So I tell a couple of people that this has happened because I'm on my own, and they say, right, you need to call 111, which is the NHS advice line. It's not 999, it's not an emergency services line. It's the advice line, because you've had 3 hard hits to your head in the course of 2.5 weeks now, just over 2 weeks. I didn't really want to do that, but I saw the sense in it because my head was suddenly pounding again. I was back in the car going, "Oh, I don't want to do this." I called. They said, "Right, we 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 think you know you need to be seen, so we're going to send an ambulance." I was like, "Well, I don't think that's necessary," but they said, "No, we're going to send an ambulance." But then, thankfully, I got a call back from the paramedics who do sort of like a second triage, which I think is a very good idea. And she said, "I don't think you need an ambulance. You don't need blue lights, and you don't need any particular care on the way to the hospital. But you do need to go to A&E, accident and emergency, and just get checked out." So I was sort of relieved that I wasn't going to have to get an ambulance, because that would have just been embarrassing with essentially self-inflicted head injuries through various ways of being clumsy, or being otherwise impaired. I've always been slightly, well, very likely to bump myself on things. Hence, I have the moniker, Mr. Bump incarnate, real life Mr. Bump. But yeah, I had to go to any. So Mrs. Soup came back home, worked from home for the day, but took me up to the hospital and came back and left me there. And it was useful in so much as they said, "Yes, you've hit your head again. Don't do that. Keep on resting. Take painkillers. Relax. Don't hit your head again." But I did feel like a bit. I felt embarrassed, frankly, because it's A&E. They're dealing with car crashes. They're dealing with people in crisis. They're dealing with people who frankly are abusive as well. And if I'm honest, the conversation I had with the doctor and the nurse who were looking after me and just checking me out briefly, checking in my ears to see if there'd been a skull fracture, all this kind of stuff. They were what I described to friends yesterday as being essentially humorless. It wasn't that I was seeking levity. I wasn't making jokes or anything like that. But I sort of said good morning, that kind of thing, and they was like, "Right, sit down," whatever. It was very matter of fact, and presumably towards the end of a shift, or that's just what it's like working in A&E. Mrs. Soup works at a hospital in Newcastle, and it's hellish. It can be absolutely hellish. And so I felt bad because I was presenting essentially as someone with a very bad headache, query skull fracture, and they just confirmed, "Yeah, you've got an ongoing concussion, but it sounds like it's improving. The pain has technically lessened over the course of 2 weeks. Keep on doing what you're doing." But they didn't even say it like that. They kind of said it like, "Right, okay." Which is, I need to let go of that in so much as I was told to go to the hospital. And I'm sure if you asked them, they would say that I did the right thing going to the hospital, because it could have been worse, especially seeing as I'd hit my head off a big stack of metal cans. But yeah, I did feel a bit bad about just how tired and stressed and difficult their jobs are. And there I am, Mr. Bump, being like, "I've hit my head again." But anyway, regardless, I'm glad that I went. I'm glad that things were confirmed again. So now I've had a couple of different checks, and we know that brain swelling, no serious injury, no bleeding, no attendant problems, and I just need to not do it again. Stop hitting your head off things, obviously. So yeah, that's where we're at. And as you know, I really wanted this week to do the lightsaber video, talking about my final lightsaber build, or well, my second. Who knows if it's my final second lightsaber build. But that's sound and light, and also editing, and I just cannot be doing that this week. So I'll probably see you guys next week with that. And until then, I am going to look after myself. I'm not good at that. I'm not good at not working on things, because often I feel as though I should be, you should do this, but one of the things I've learned over the years, even if I'm not fully always practicing what I'm about to preach, should is a very dangerous word. You should always examine where your shoulds come from, and often they come from unhelpful places. So yes, it's not that I should be working or I should be doing something productive. I need to be recovering. That's what I'm going to do. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your general interest in this YouTube channel. I do love this place, and I can't wait to show you my lightsaber in the very near future. And then also as well, Manta Force. Got to do the Manta Force video, surely. Until next time, guys, do take care. And I'll do likewise. Bye-bye. Did I blink? Was that a blink or a wink? No, sorry. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Brain fog. Right. Bye-bye. I think.